So I want to ask you about your building, well, your apartment, and what is happening to you right now, and also like what you do, and what will how will this affect your life?
Wow, big time. What happened was our building rather was sold to a company called Matas Group from Burlington, and they issued us N13s and told us we had to be out by June 30th. Now, prior to them purchasing the building, John Van Nostrum, he bought the building, and he had planned on tearing it down, but he also gave us the opportunity to find a place to live. He would help us get places to live, so that was all fine and perfect. When he realized it was going to cost too much money, he backed out of the project and left the city basically sitting. The property went back up for sale, was bought by Matas. They gave us our N13s, and we have to be out by June 30th.
What's the N13? What does that do?
The N13 is an order to vacate the property for the purpose of demolition.
Okay. Now, is the landlord offering you to come back?
Nothing.
Yeah.
Nothing. They offered us the last 3 months in rent, which
Okay.
they gave us our 3 months notice. So basically, they indirectly said save your 3 months rent because you're gonna need it.
Yeah. And right now, like, you have what do you do right now for living? I know that you mentioned you're a photographer.
Well,
explain how that will affect your career.
Oh, it already has. Just with the onset of the disabilities alone, it's made it next to impossible for me to keep up my level of photography that I did. As my health got worse and worse, and having zero income, after speaking with my doctors, specialists, heart specialists, they said you're better off on disability. So I applied. Long story short, I got on disability. I luckily found this place to live. It was all I could afford, and that's where I moved
And how
in.
long was that?
That was 4 years ago. It was 4 years ago. 5 years ago, my health really started to deteriorate. I stayed with a friend for about a year while I was looking for someplace affordable.
Yeah.
And there was only one room in here that happened to come up, and I got lucky, and because there was an application process.
I see.
I got lucky, and
Yeah.
they picked me.
Yeah.
If they hadn't have, I would have been homeless 4 or 5 years ago.
I see. And where do you live? What's the address, if you don't mind?
The address here is 468 James Street North.
Okay. Yeah. And did you contact the city about, and even your people in ODSP, like you have a worker, did you let them
I
know?
called my ODSP worker, and she said, "I'm sorry to hear that. You better contact Hamilton Housing."
Okay, and what did Hamilton Housing say?
They said, "We're sorry to hear that. You better fill out an application to access to housing."
Okay, and you filled it out?
47 pages of it, plus another 3 pages for an application to change my status to homeless, so that they would look at it a little bit quicker, which means I'm somewhere in the 4,900 and some odd range of the numbers of people that are already on that list.
Yeah. So with your ODSP income,
It covers 90%.
It covers
of
90.
an average rent for a bachelor apartment.
Okay.
It'll only cover 90%.
90%.
So I would have to come up with another 10% plus groceries, personal hygiene, medical care, medical equipment.
Okay. Yeah.
They do have a picture of my bathroom, my wheelchair, and my chair in the bathroom, and my custom designed shower that I had to do myself.
Yeah.
So they've got all that, and that's not going to be available.
No. So Gord, you're a photographer, and
I am a photographer.
and you obviously pay your rent because you
Never
would
missed
not
a beat.
be.
I
Yeah.
always paid my rent early.
Yeah.
None of us in here have ever missed a beat
Yeah.
paying rent.
And so you mentioned Joe's, and so there's other tenants here too.
There's 2 other tenants that are left in here, Joseph and Bronco. Bronco, I couldn't get a hold of him. Joseph, you just met him.
Yeah.
And we're all in the same boat.
Yeah,
You
eh?
know, they're relying on me.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, Joseph doesn't really have the education
Yeah.
or the knowledge to know what to do. So I've been telling him, don't worry, I'm doing everything I can to help.
That's great.
You know, so he's basically relying on me. And I even told him yesterday, I said, I'm sorry, but it doesn't look good. You know, I'm ready. I'm getting prepared to be homeless, but it doesn't look good.
Yeah.
You know, he would never survive.
Did you go to the shelters too?
Shelters have a waiting list.
Okay.
But I've also learned from people that I know from the shelters, not a healthy place to go.
Yeah.
With my COPD,
I see.
I'd never survive in there.
So
I have a unit upstairs that runs 24 hours a day, 7 days a week to give me fresh air.
oh wow. What do you want to tell, like, to whoever would listen to this video, like general public or maybe city councilors that listen?
It's time to start looking after people. I mean, I don't do drugs. I don't drink. No, I'm very responsible, obviously. I tried running my own business. I made preparations to be homeless, to try and survive as long as I can.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. And this is Gord's card. Just so everyone can see, Gord is a true professional.
I want everybody to be aware that this is happening, not just in Hamilton, but across the country.
Yeah. And
just our
Gord will
alone.
not have that website when he has to leave, and
I don't know how I'm going to keep it up.
Yeah.
But people need to be aware that this is happening, and you hear so many people saying, "What's going on with the homeless in this city? It's getting bigger and bigger and worse and worse. And where are all these nasty people coming from?"
Yeah.
So those nasty people have been your neighbors for years.
Yeah.
And these big corporations are coming in and forcing them to the streets.
That's it.
Because they can legally do so. The province isn't doing anything about it. The city's not doing anything about it. It's one of the biggest crises going, and we're talking about human lives.
Yeah.
The city's priorities are LRT. How are we going to spend billions of dollars on? The Canadian government just spent $5.9 billion on the airline industry.
Yeah.
They're going to survive.
Yeah.
But the poor guy that's looking for a room to keep a roof over his head until his final days, who cares? In my opinion, it seems like a backwards situation.
Yeah.
I get $12.55 now. When I no longer have an address, $497 comes off my check. They removed my basic shelter. Now I'm down to $700 a month. That won't even pay for a room.
Nope.
In a shared house.
No. Well, Gord, I hope this video goes far, and thank you.
I hope it does. I hope it goes
Thank
viral.
you. Yeah, thanks for sharing.
You're welcome.
And and thanks for watching, everyone.
Oh, my pleasure.